Hello. I haven't posted in so long, and I'll be completely honest, I think this is probably going to be my last time I post on my YouTube. I might post videos again in the future. I've filmed so many videos over the last however long it's been, meaning to upload them, and I just haven't. I don't even know what the last thing I posted was. I don't know if I've spoken about my top surgery because, had that done. But yeah. But I kind of want this to be sort of like a last chapter video. And that sounds really morbid, okay? I don't want people getting the wrong impression. I'm not doing anything stupid to myself, don't worry. I just mean in the terms of, like, uploading videos. I think this would be, like, a nice round off. Like I said, I might, but I don't know. So just a bit of background info. So my granddad passed away on the 23rd of July this year, a couple of months ago. Which, yeah, I might talk about that. I don't know, it's still a bit raw to get too deep and involved about that, like what happened and shit. So I might just leave it out. Maybe that will be another YouTube video. I'm joking. That's so disrespectful. I'm so sorry. But yeah, and since then, like, I was already planning on moving out of this house. But obviously it would have been a bit different because I knew this house was always here to come back to. But it's basically rushed the process through. I mean, I'm still leaving roughly at the same time as I would have done if he was, God bless, still here. He isn't. So, yeah, I had to rush it through a little bit. So, yeah, I'm moving closer to my dad and, like, my sisters and my stepmom and all them lovely people. Which I'm super happy about, because it means I get to see my sisters and my younger brother a lot more, so I'm super happy about that. Yeah, I'm moving in, not with them, but with, my step-uncle, I think? I don't really understand how it works, but yeah, something like that. I'm having to transfer into another store through my work. So this is my last, like, night in this house. Like, don't get me wrong, I might come around here, like, on a weekend, like, if I do happen to have, like, like, if I'm working a morning shift and then I'm off the next day, like, I might come over and stay the evening and then come back to my house in the other town, like, the next day sort of thing, but this is pretty much my last night in this house. And it's my last day in my current work tomorrow, which I'm dreading. I've been there for 1.5 years. It's a very hard goodbye. It's a very bittersweet situation. This video might be a bit emotional, by the way. But anyway, long story short, I wanted to make this video just to reminisce on some memories and just chat and just, yeah. I'm gonna get my backy because I will probably end up wanting to smoke out of stress. If you're wondering, like, the cold sore and the spots and everything, it's stress. So we're living with it. Don't even mention it. But yeah, putting it out there as well. Don't smoke. It's bad for you. Okay, don't come at me. So yeah, I don't even know where to begin. Like, and I also want to say that as much as tonight is my last night in this house, which breaks my heart to say, but it had to happen one day, so yeah. I don't even know where I was going with that. I've literally, see, this is what I mean, like, I've been very much like this. Like, if you've been with me in person the last few days, I don't know who watched these videos, like, it might be family, friends, I don't know, so I'm just putting it out there in case, as if you know me, do you know what I mean, like, personally, but I've been very all over the place a little bit. I can't really think straight, besides at work, because when I'm at work, it sort of goes out the window, and I'm just sort of, like, head straight, like, okay, get shit done. But yeah, I literally don't even know where I was going with that. Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. As much as it is my last night in this house isn't getting gone anytime soon. Like, as a family, we're not gonna be able to keep this house, which saddens me so much. But in the nicest way possible, and trust me, I love and adore this house. Like, I grew up literally, like, pretty much in this house, like, my whole life, like, back and forth, and then permanently for, like, since I was 11, so 10 years. You know, but yeah, like I said, this house is just, it's very, like I said, in the politest way, broken. It would take a lot of money to fix this house, and you know, like, none of us are able to warrant, well, not warrant, like, of course we could warrant, but we're not able to, like, get that amount. And so yeah, long story short, we are selling the house, but we don't know exactly when, like, how long it takes roughly. Do you know what I mean? It's just sort of when we've got everything out, I suppose, and we can go from there. So yeah, like I said, as much as this is my last night, the house is still going to be here, and I will still sort of pop back whenever I can. Of course I will. But yeah, sleeping wise, like, this is my proper last night. And yeah, like I said, I don't know. I don't even know where to start. I just want to reminisce on memories. Like I said, I just want to chat. You know, let's have a chat. Let's just talk about it. Like, I remember when my mum and dad were together. Ironic. I'm joking. I'm actually not mad at it that they're not together anymore. Like, I don't know, it's kind of weird. Like, by the way, this video is going to go so off topic in many ways, but yeah, just deal with it, okay? It's probably going to be 20 minutes long, but deal with it. Yeah, I'm not mad, because at the end of the day, I'm so thankful for how my life is now. Well, not maybe right now, maybe 2 months ago. But yeah, you know, because if that hadn't have happened, I wouldn't have had my sisters and my brother and all that, and I wouldn't have met my mum's other half, who's such a good person, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm thankful for, like, all the families I have, you know, in, like, their own little ways. So yeah, I'm thankful for that. But anyway, getting back to the story, I remember when my mum and dad were together, and we, all three of us, used to sort of be in the room next door. I'd be on the floor on a mattress, because, you know, MTV Cribs. And I remember I used to sleep with the door a little bit open. Obviously, I was much, much younger then. So it would be like, oh, you have to go to bed at like 7 or 8 p.m. I can't remember the fucking time, but early, do you know what I mean? Like, I was a kid, so yeah. And I remember my granddad would come up the stairs, and he'd always sort of peek through, like, the gap in the door, and he'd be able to see me just there, like, looking at him like, don't tell me off, please. And he'd be like, I see you. I'd be like, I see you. Yeah. It was kind of like our little secret, I guess. Don't get me wrong, I know mum, obviously, and dad probably both knew exactly what I was doing. Like, I wasn't obviously asleep straight away, but to me, back then, that was, like, our thing. You know, he would sort of pop up the stairs and be like, I see you. Yeah. I remember when he would take me out in his work van most days, and we'd go, because he worked for NHS, has done pretty much his whole life. So yeah, he would always be in and out of London pretty much on a daily basis, and he'd see so many cool things. Like, I was always so jealous of him. And I remember he'd always sort of take me out on weekends when I'd come and visit him, or like when I was at here. He'd take me out, and he'd specifically remember these things, and he'd be like, oh, I want to take you to this, and we'd go, and he'd bring his camera. And I know he took me to so many, but only two properly stand out to me. I don't know where they are in London, by the way. I don't even know if they still exist, but one of them was this, like, massive turtle and, like, statue, and he had a sundial on him, I'm pretty sure. Or the turtle was the sundial, I can't remember either way. And I just remember him showing me, and obviously taking pictures, like, of us with it and stuff like that. And I was always so, like, interested. I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. And another one he took me to, it was like, I don't know why, but in my head it was scaffolding. But they designed it to look like giant pencils and crayons and pens, and he, like, I remember he drove past it, and then I was he sort of made a point of being like, oh, look, 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 and I was like, let's go, like, I want to get out, like, get me out. And bless him, he actually did park up, and we walked, like, the whole length of it, which it wasn't like a 1 minute walk, do you know what I'm saying? It's London, the streets are long, so we walked all the way, and then all the way back, and yeah, we took so many, well, I took so many pictures, he gave me the camera, and I remember taking so many, it was probably with the same fucking pencil each time, but, yeah. Which I did actually find that camera, and I managed to turn it on, but nothing came up. So I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. There is a SIM card in it, or whatever card, photo card. I don't know. I probably sounded so stupid then. But yeah, whatever card's in it, I'm hoping there's still stuff on it, and the camera's just not able to read it. But I'm hoping I can get that sort of looked at. Yes. His shepherd's pies. I literally stand by this fact that I'm probably never going to eat another shepherd's pie again. Because I knew I was going to cry, fuck. I'm such an ugly crier as well, and I look like shit, so... But, yeah, his shepherd's pies, they were just bomb. Like, they were so good, I can't even explain it. And he used to literally do it, and he would put my initial in it each time. Which, really cute story, by the way. Like, obviously, those of you who've seen my channel before, I'm transgender. So, obviously, I had a different name, and I remember the first time he made me a shepherd's pie, he put L for the first time, like, of my new name. And I just remember, like, being so fucking happy. You know, because he never really judged me on, like, that side of things. I mean, he always, like, hand on heart was like, look, as long as you're happy, I couldn't care. Like, if you're blue, yellow, green, you know, any of that sort of thing, you know, that's what he would say. But I know what he meant. He just always was like, as long as you're happy, as long as my best mate's happy. As I said, I'm probably going to be crying a lot in this video. And I just want to put out there right now as well that it is still very raw. Still very much grieving in, like, the best way I can. And actually, I think that's actually probably a good reason to make this video as well. Like, it's good to get this out of your system sometimes. Especially in this sort of context, you know what I mean? Like, as much as these are, like, a mixture of sad tears, they're also very happy tears, because I'm looking back at memories and thinking, like, he was such a good person. Like, honestly, best granddad ever. But, yeah. But yeah, so shepherd's pie. Don't get me wrong, I probably will eat it again, but it won't ever be the same. Like, no one will ever make it as good as granddad, so... What else? The thing is, there's so many, it's hard to, like, pick, like, certain memories. You know, like, every year at Christmas, he'd always, without a doubt, get me the new Arsenal kit. You know, and of recent times, like, the last 4 or 5 years, he'd get me the Arsenal kit and a pair of Jordans, because that's what I always asked for. Like, the Arsenal kit was always a given. I didn't even have to ask for that from him, do you know what I mean? He just always did that. You know, it was kind of like a mutual understanding. Like, we just sort of looked at each other, it's like, what do you want for Christmas? And I'd look at him and be like, you know. And then I think one year I asked for Jordans, not honestly expecting to get the Arsenal kit as well, but he did. And then the next year, I'm pretty sure, when I got my purple ones, which they are my absolute favourite ones I've got. Like, all of them are my favourites, but the purple ones are, like, so special to me because, like, he made a day of it. Like, me and him went to Watford, which, you know, shamefully now, like, I regret it so much, but me and him didn't really go out that much, like, as I got older, because obviously I was working a lot, do you know what I mean? I mean, actually, no, I'm not going to make up excuses. Like, I was always working, or I was when I had days off, I was always at my dad's, sort of thing. Or the rare occasion I was at home, I would just want to lay in bed because I was lazy. So that is definitely something I really do regret. But yeah, I just remember this one day, he, like, quite close to Christmas, like maybe like a week before Christmas, we went to Watford and we sort of walked around everywhere. Well, not a lot though, we had to keep sitting because obviously his poor legs, bless him, they really bothered him. But yeah, and then we went and I picked them out. And I felt so bad. They were like the most expensive ones. And do you know what? I saw them and it was quite funny because I remember seeing them and I was like amazed because purple is my favourite colour, right? So I was like, oh my god, these are great. And I looked at the price and he was right behind me and I just remember I was like, oh no. They were expensive. Like, not saying Jordans aren't, but like they were the higher end of Jordan price. Do you know what I'm saying? So I just sort of put them back and sort of walked away. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to expect him to pay out that fucking much. Like, I'm not making him fork out like that. And I kept looking at them and he kept sort of pointing at some and I was like, yeah, they're good. And he just, I remember at one point he was like, you get the ones you want. And I was like, yeah, I haven't picked. He was like, you have. And he sort of walked back over to the purple ones and he was like, I can't remember specifically, which is really annoying. It was something about the price. It was like, you know, the price doesn't matter. Or he was like, you know, you haven't got to worry about the price. Like, that's for me to worry about. And I was like, yeah, but... And he was like, no. He was like, you want them, you get them. Simple. The only time I've ever felt spoiled, by the way. And yeah, we got them. And then after that, we went to Ed's Easy Diner. And we had, like, a little, like, lunch date. It was so fucking cute. I swear to God. And yeah, got the bus back. And yeah, it was just such a good day. And then I remember when I was little, not little, I'd say remember when I was like 13, 14, I remember me and him had like a Disney movie night. Yeah, I just remember like, it must have been like 5 or 6 p.m. and he wanted to watch Princess and the Frog. Like, he was a massive Disney fan. Like every Disney film, even though like he didn't watch the DVDs, he collected every single DVD that came out. Normally the special edition ones as well. And he really wanted to watch it, and he just opened this DVD for the sole purpose of wanting to watch it. So I was like, I'll watch it with you. You know, I literally don't remember anything about that film, to be honest, now, but I remember laying down on the sofa and I had the blanket and the big red, like, cotton or wool sort of stitched cushion, and I sort of laying and we watched it. And then after that, we put on another one, and after that, I think we got through, like, 3 films, and to be honest, I don't actually remember leaving. Like, I remember waking up the next morning, and I'd fallen asleep on the sofa, obviously, and he'd just left me. Like, I don't blame him, to be fair. I actually think it's quite sweet that he did that. He didn't want to wake me up and disturb me. But, yeah, so that, again, is, like, another amazing memory. What else? There's so many. There's so many. Every Christmas, you know, I can't pinpoint specific memories because there is generally too many for all the Christmases. But every Christmas, like, we'd all come to Grandad's house, you know. I think the hardest, like, bullet to bite is just, you know, don't get me wrong, them core memories specifically are, like, obviously so much to me. Like, they mean so much to me. Like, I've kept his suitcase that was under his wardrobe, and all it had was brochures in it from when him and his wife, like my nan, who sadly I never got to meet, she passed away literally a couple of weeks before I was born. But it's just brochures from when they went on holidays, and he collected, like, him and her collected all these things. I remember him sitting me on his bed one day, and obviously me being a kid, like, I was young back then, but I vividly remember it, and I remember pointing at him, like, why have you got, like, a suitcase under your wardrobe? Like, what's that for? And he opened it and he sat through and, like, told me so many amazing stories of, like, him and my nan. And, like, each one he pulled out, he was like, oh, and this. And then he was like, oh, and this. Like, and it just made me so happy seeing him, like, talk about her. And I felt so lucky. Well, actually, I'm going to change that. I feel so lucky now. Like, back then, obviously, I didn't understand the extent of what that was. But thinking about it now, like, being 22 years old, considering he never he rarely spoke about my nan, like, the fact that he just sat there with me and was just so happily telling me these so, like, obviously special memories, like, personal to him. And I'm so grateful and thankful for that. But yeah, apart from that, which again, going back to what I was originally saying, like I think the hardest bullet to bite is just like the everyday conversations, you know, which I can't explain because we had like our own language, to be honest. You know, every day before work, I'd go downstairs and we'd sit and chat while I was waiting for my Uber and stuff like that. And then when I get home, he'd always be there. And you know, we'd just make each other laugh so much, and I really cherish that. Yeah. And you know, this house as well, like not even, you know, as much as it's hard to say this, you know, not let's not think about him for just 1 second, you know, even though he's constantly on my mind, Jesus. But just this house alone, like I found so many pictures of like me when I was a baby, like he's holding me like when I was like literally maybe 2 weeks old, like in his chair downstairs. So like this house has literally been in my life for 22 years. You know, this has been my room for like the last 10 years. You know, and like this house has seen so many ups and downs in my life, like, you know, when my mum was going through bad times, when my mum and dad were together when they split up, sort of thing. You know, when I was at secondary school and I felt so fucking shit some days. You know, I've had so many friends here that I don't even speak to now. You know, I became Lewis in this house. You know what I mean? I started testosterone here, you know, when I got my top surgery here. Like, again, like, all of it sort of links back to this house. Like, I remember for my top surgery, because it was very much sorted out that I'd stay at my mum's the night before. They'd drive me to the hospital because it was in Leicester, so it was quite far away. And then after that, I was going straight to my dad's, and the plan was to stay there for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, I mean a month, realistically. I was signed off for a month off work. And I think I was there for maybe like 2 weeks, and then I came back here because I sort of missed my bed and all that sort of stuff. But the point being is that I remember leaving this room the night before. No, I think a few days before, because it was COVID, so you had to do a COVID, you had to go to the hospital, do a COVID test, wait 3 days, and then the surgery was on like the 3rd or 4th day. But yeah, but I remember packing my bag and leaving this room, and literally, like, I think I made a video all about it. Like, at the time I was recording like a diary on my Snapchat. Like, I videoed myself every day leading up to the surgery and a couple of days after, I think. And I literally remember saying in the video, like, the next time I step in this room, like, my chest is going to be flat. And then, yeah, I just remember walking back in this room and feeling so surreal, like, seeing my binders everywhere and thinking, oh my god, I can chuck them now. Do you know what I mean? Like, so this house, you know, it means so much. You know, and even just this room that I've been in for the last 10 years, like, I've had some dark times in this room, and I've had such amazing times in this room, do you know what I mean, with people that I miss so dearly. You know, and it's weird thinking that this house is going to be gone, like, not anytime soon. Like I said, I don't know when specifically. Like, we think we're definitely going to have it for this Christmas still, probably, but and I think that's why I wanted to do this video and sort of say this is probably the last video, because sorry, I need a minute. Good time to pull a fag, eh? Just need to breathe a little bit. Also, by the way, I know I keep wiping my nose, but I get really stressed out about blowing my nose on camera, or like even if I go out of the room, like you'll still be able to hear it, so I'm not doing that. But yeah, what was this? Yeah, I think that's why I kind of want this to be a last sort of final video for YouTube in general, because I've been uploading YouTube videos, right? Not necessarily just to this account. I had another account, but I was uploading YouTube videos since I was probably about 11 years old. you know, so again for 10 years, and it's always been like me in this room. Like, obviously I've redone my room now, like last year, but, and I, you know, I actually, funnily enough, was watching some of them videos the other day, and I they were so stupid, but do you know what I mean? I'm so glad I have them videos to look back at, because it's just memories of like this room and like what I used to get up to when I was bored and like had no one properly to talk to at that point. You know what I mean? Like, I just would make these stupid little YouTube videos, and you know, I look back at them now and I'm like, I'm so grateful I did that. You know, it's kind of a mixture of embarrassment, but also, you know, I'm so thankful. And it's weird that this room isn't going to be a thing soon, you know. And it's weird that I'm gonna have like a new normal, which, do you know what, I'm like, I'm a very big believer in like things happen for a reason, right? And I'll be honest, okay, between me and you, like, I'll be honest, like, my granddad made my life so easy, and I love him for it. I love him for it. But at the same time, it's like there's a time and a place to grow up and mature, you know. And everyone in my family has their own sort of reasons and beliefs about my granddad, like his passing and stuff like that. But again, a bit of background, my uncle, who is like 30 something, I don't even know, he literally moved out of this house like 2 months, actually no, maybe 2-3 months before my granddad passed. So yeah, like April, May-ish of this year. So it was just me and him for like 3 months. And I did have a conversation with him before he passed, like a couple of weeks before he passed, and I explained, I was a bit nervous, I'll be honest. But I explained that I was planning on moving out to this town closer to my dad and all that lot in October-ish time. You know, I remember him saying at the time, you know, don't be silly, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, he didn't say it in a negative way, and it's not like he wouldn't have let me. You know, I'm not saying that at all. But he was just very worried, and he was like, you know, you can always come back here. If things don't work out, you know, you've always got this house and me. And, you know, like I said, I believe things happen for a reason. And I just think that he was very tired. Like I said, I'm not getting into deep things, but he wasn't getting a lot of sleep for specific reasons. And yeah, I think he was tired, and I think obviously his son, my uncle, had lived here for 30 odd years of his life, and he'd moved out. And I think when I had that chat with him, maybe he did think like, okay, my job's done, you know. Obviously, don't get me wrong, I know that's not how it works. You can't just pick and choose when you up and, you know, leave this world and this earth. And trust me, like, I do know what happened. Like, of course we do. Like, obviously you get told what the cause was. But I think timing-wise, you know, like I said, everyone in the family has their different reasons, you know, and all of us are quite spiritual in that sense. Not in the sense of ghosts, or I mean, I do believe in that stuff, but in the sense of, like, we all have our reasons based off of something, like why we thought maybe, you know, he did think it was the right time. But yeah, I like I said, in my head, it's very much, I think he felt like he'd done everything he had to do. You know, he'd raised all of his kids plus me. And yeah, and part of me, you know, like, when I had spoken to him about leaving, I remember coming up here and feeling extremely guilty that I was going to be leaving and leaving him on his own. And I was very worried about that. I was very concerned. Not that he couldn't do stuff by himself, he was still so independent, but he was struggling a lot more. And so I felt so guilty of that. So part of, like, again, the whole bittersweet situation is that, you know, in my head it's like, okay, maybe he thought this is the right time, because, as I just said, you know what I mean, everyone, he'd raised everyone and helped everyone out as much as they could, so, you know, me being the last person in this house with him because I was leaving, I think he did think, you know, that's my job done, you know what I mean, I've protected everyone in this house has done its job, I've done my job, that's it. And as I was saying, it's so bittersweet because now it's like I don't want this to come out wrong, okay? I don't want anyone to take this in the wrong way, but, like, I'm so grateful that I don't have to worry that he's going to be on his own. Which I know might sound so harsh. But I just mean it in the sense of, like, of course, I would give anything to have him back. Anything. Even my life, Jesus. If we could have swapped, trust me, I would have. But it's like, again, as I know I keep saying it, but it is just so bittersweet, you know, like, this might sound stupid, but, like, it's so many little things that I don't even consider on a daily basis because I knew that he always did that for me. Well, this is the thing, I don't think I even knew, you know, it's only since he's been gone that, you know, the last 2 months where I've lived in this house on my own, like, I've noticed stuff, you know what I mean, like, there isn't always food in the fridge ready for me now, and, you know, I've had to go out and do my own shopping, and I know it sounds so childish, right, trust me, like I said, he gave it to me so easy. Like, my life has been so easy. Well, no, okay, not easy in that sense, but, like, as in, like, living-wise, easy. Okay, like, there was always food in the fridge. Yeah, there was always electricity. There was always gas. There was always, like, hot water and stuff like that. And there was always, like, you know... And I never went without in that sense. You know, I had a roof over my head. I had a bedroom. Do you know what I mean? Like, I had so much good stuff. And, like I said, it's just those little things. You know what I mean? Or, like... You know, I would go downstairs and put my own washing on, but then magically the next morning I wake up and it would have been put in a tumble dryer and folded up on the sofa for me. You know what I mean? Stuff like that I've had to now do on my own, and I sort of, you know, I sort of realised, like, how much effort he really did put in without, just without even having to ask, you know what I mean? And it makes me so upset because, like, he was doing that for me up until literally the last couple of weeks, you know, before he passed. Do you know what I mean? He was still, like, so tired and stuff like that. Yet he always did the washing up. He always, like I said, when I'd take my clothes down to wash, and this is where I feel guilty because in my head it was like, oh, it's okay, Grandad will do it, you know? And I wish I actually got the chance to say thank you. Or, like, cook him a meal for once, or do his washing for once, or, you know, surprise him and fold it for him. You know, all them things. And, you know, there's obviously that famous saying, you know, you never realise what you had until it's gone, and it's so true. Like, it's so fucking true. Like, I can't even explain the pain. Like, physical pain. You know, I'm not here making this video if people feel sorry for me. I'm really not. And what I'm about to say might feel like, you know, I'm being a bit of a hypocrite by saying that, and then I'm going to say this, but, like, I've had close friends kill themselves, right? Trigger warning. When I was at school, in year 10, one of my not best mates, but one of my really close friends in the higher year than me, he ended his own life. And I remember at the time being so fucking heartbroken, and I didn't know what to do or how to cope with, like, all them sort of emotions that were kind of happening and coming through. You know, and even at school, you know what I mean, like, I'd go through phases, like, in this room. Well, not even at school, actually, like, even recently, like, not even during COVID, just in general, you know what I mean, I'd go to work, come back here, and that's it, you know, I wouldn't really talk to anyone, apart from my granddad, I wouldn't really talk to friends, likewise, I wouldn't really have anyone to talk to, and I used to think, like, all the time, I used to sit in this room and cry, like, I have a massive fucking paragraph written on this wall, from last year, where I literally wrote all my emotions out, and I'm literally saying that, like, I feel so lonely, and blah, 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 and only up until now, again, bittersweet, although there isn't really a good thing to this, but, you know, as much as, of course, my friend taking their own life killed me, you know, and at the time at school, you know, I had to go to counselling sessions, and they would talk about grief and all this and that, and they would explain it to me, and I think they kind of put it in a way where it did make me feel like, oh, that's what I'm going through, and of course it was, but a certain type of grief, do you know what I mean, like, whereas, it's like, again, like, up until now, 2 months ago when my granddad passed, like, well, up till this point, literally right now, this moment in time right now that I'm talking to this camera, like, this is what grief is, you know what I mean, and I can't even explain it, but it's so weird to me thinking, like, oh, that's what I thought it was, and, like, obviously it was to a certain degree, but fucking hell, it's nothing compared to this, like, how I'm feeling at the moment, you know, and the whole lonely thing, do you know what I mean, like, I've never felt so lonely than the last 2 months in this house, which, ironically, is so weird, because I'd say these last 2 months have been, you know, like, these last 2 months, so many people have been checking in on me, so actually, really, I haven't been lonely at all, but just physically, like, in this house on my own, like, realising, like, that pain in my chest, like, oh my god, this is what it feels like. You know, I used to sit in this room and be so upset, thinking, I'm lonely, I've got no friends, I've got nobody who wants to talk to me, I've got no one to talk to, blah, blah, blah. You know, and it's only now I'm sort of realising, no, this is what it is. You know, and I think, you know, I don't want to end this video on a bad note, okay? The bad note is my effects got out. Yeah, like I said, I don't want to end this video on a bad note, but as much as I've said all this, like, about loneliness and grief and all that, and, you know, I will honestly say it's nothing that you can really prepare for or understand. Like, even I don't understand it. You know, there are some days where I wake up and I feel absolutely fine, like, genuinely, hand on heart, like, I feel okay, like, not great, like, not good by any degree, but okay, like, I can get on with today. And then literally 10 minutes later I'll be in tears, or not even in tears, like 10 minutes later I could be really fucking angry for no reason and just hate everyone and everything in the world, do you know what I mean? And then the next second I'm fine, you know, and it's so, like I said, it's very much how I was at the beginning of this video, do you know what I mean? Like, my brain is very jumpy at the moment, and I do just generally think that's because all the feelings are, like, flushing through at rapid speeds. But I am learning from this experience, you know what I mean? Like I said, I very much believe in things happen for a reason. And I think this is the time in my life where I do need to mature and grow up and start, you know, fending for myself, as they say in the big cruel world. You know, and I know that he's up there watching over me. And he's making sure I'm okay. So I'm so thankful for that. Like, I've got some of the best angels up there, I swear. And I'm glad for him that he's with his wife now. But yeah. I'm gonna go because this video is like nearly 40 minutes long. But yeah, I'm sorry, this video was so random, but like I said, I guess I just wanted to make this last video. Just me in my room for once, just sat talking to you. And actually I found it quite nice in a way, like reliving some of those memories and talking about them and like being able to laugh and remember it and for what it was at the time, which was just a good memory. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes it's hard to think about stuff like that, like the good memories, because at this point in time, every good memory, it just brings a lot of pain. But, you know, it's been nice to actually talk about them and laugh at them and remember them for, like I said, for what they were at the time and what they'll always be, you know what I mean? Which is good, happy memories with my granddad that I will always cherish for as long as I live. And yeah, I'm just so thankful to have had someone like him in my life. Yeah. So, This is going to be a goodbye, YouTube-wise, not me saying goodbye. Jesus, again, I don't want to start getting police at my house, like, oh, are you okay? We've had, like, a well-being call or something. Like I said, just goodbye to YouTube. And in my head, like, for me, this is like a new start, like a fresh chapter in my life. And you know what? I'm excited. Again, of course, I'm deeply pained that he's not going to be here to sort of share, like, those sort of moments. Like, I'm not going to be able to call him and be like, oh, I made my first, like, I paid my first ever rent. Do you know what I mean? Like, and stuff like that. But I know he's up there laughing. But yeah, I am excited for future, and you know where I'm gonna get to and what I'm gonna do, and you know, and that's what I think is important at this point in time. Do you know what I mean? Just focusing on the good things and the things you are in control of. And so yeah, as much as I'm scared to go into work tomorrow because it's my last day in that store, I've got to hand my keys in. I've got, you know, it really does feel like I'm sort of being stripped of my colours, as they would say. Do you know what I mean? Like in the army and shit. But and I'm so stressed about starting this not new job, like I said, it's still the same job, just a different store. But I'm so nervous about meeting all the new people and stuff, and but yeah, I'm excited as well. So yes, this is gonna be a goodbye from me, YouTube wise, because I just want it to be, you know, this room, YouTube wise holds a lot of memories, so I feel like it's the right time to sort of put this at a stop. And like I said, I might, do you know what I mean? Because obviously I'm still transitioning, and I've always said that this channel is mainly for me to look back on. And I do stand by that, so don't get me wrong, other stages of my transition I might still post like a couple of snippets and stuff like that, or like shit like that. But apart from that, I do want this sort of to be the last sort of video as such, because it feels right. You know, I started 11 years ago on YouTube in this room on my bed when I was 11, and I'm now 22 and my name's now Lewis, and I've had top surgery, you know what I mean? So I just feel like it's a good round off. Yeah, so thank you for watching. If you've watched this all, God bless you. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good night or morning, day, whenever you're watching this. And I just want to put it out there, do you know what I mean? Like, if you're ever going through hard times, like, don't get me wrong, family is important in your life, they really are. But I think out of this whole experience, as my granddad has passed, one thing that I can deeply say is just focus on yourself. Like, you can try and be the peacekeeper between everyone, and you can try and be the mutual middle person and all this and that, and it's so easy to get lost in it because, you know, everyone at the time is like, I'm so sorry for you, I'm so sorry for you, and it's really easy to sort of let that get to you and be like, oh my god, like, I should feel sorry for myself. And don't get me wrong, you should. And please don't take this as I'm telling you how to grieve, of course not even about that, but just in general, like, be able to take time for yourself and really remind yourself of why you're here and what you truly believe in, and all the good things that have happened in your life and good things to come. Really try and look for the positives, you know. And I will say one thing grief-wise, and this is more specific to like my mum sort of thing, but you know, when you're grieving, if good stuff happens, it's okay for it to be a good thing. You know, like my mum recently got a promotion and she instantly turned it, not into a bad thing, do you know what I mean? But she was just very heartbroken that, you know, her dad wouldn't have been here to, you know she got a promotion and stuff like that. But I get what she's saying, don't get me wrong, like, trust me and her had this conversation, but it's like, let good things be just that, you know, at this time where you struggle to find a lot of good things, like, when you do get the odd sort of minimal good thing that happens to you in your life, like, just clasp onto it and just hold it and take it as that, like, it's a good thing. Do you know what I mean? Celebrate it. If that's what he would have wanted. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you ever lose anyone you truly care about, or a best friend or family member or anyone that relatively means anything to you, to the point where it hurts you, like, as much as this, just honestly, like, allow yourself to be upset, of course. Allow yourself to grieve. Allow yourself the time. You know, there's no set time on grieving and just being sad in general and missing that person, of course not. But just really make sure that you find the good things and you allow them to be just that good thing. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to make everything so bad. You know, as much as, like I said, bittersweet situation, like, I'm scared to be moving to another town and leaving my home, and starting in a new store. But I'm also excited for all of those things, because I know that, you know, it's the first step to, like, a new me, a new life. You know, I'm starting in a new store, so I get to basically recreate myself if I so necessarily wish. And yeah, just always try and think positively at times like these. You know what I mean? It's so easy to get caught up in all the bad vibes and negative energy. And like I said, it's okay to be like that. It's honestly okay. Like, allow yourself them moments. But like I said, just also allow yourself to be happy. You know, don't feel guilty about being happy. Because at the end of the day, that's what that person that you cared about so much would have wanted, your happiness. So I think it's important to share that and make sure that everyone knows that, because I struggled with it. You know, I think a week after he passed away, I made my own dinner for once, which sounds really stupid, but, like, I would obviously make my own dinners, but they were always ready meals. Like, I fully cooked my own spaghetti bolognese. Like, I've never cooked meat before in my life, so I was so scared I was going to give myself food poisoning, but I fucking did it. So and that's what I mean. Do you know what I mean? Just little wins like that, which seems so stupid saying out loud, but to me, do you know what I mean? Like, I know he would have been proud. You know, and I was, like, dancing while I was cooking, you know what I mean? I was trying to cheer myself up, do you know what I mean? And it's okay to do that. Like I said, focus on yourself. You don't have to worry about everyone else. Like, I mean, of course you should. It's the right and respectful thing to do, especially when it comes to family members and shit like that. But at the end of the day, you have to be okay in yourself. You can't just keep eating up everyone else's emotions and hearing them out and them say how heartbroken they are and how sad they are and all this and that, because all that negativity is just going on to you. And then that's just going to make you feel a million times heavier. But yeah, I was going to end this video 7 minutes ago. I'm so sorry. Well, nearly 8 minutes ago. I'm so sorry. But yes, I love you all so much. Goodbye for now. I'll say for now just in case, but yeah. Bye.